glutinous rice. First, we have to dissolve the small grazes within the glutinous rice, and then we have to rinse it, and then we have to cook it. So when will this be ready? So when we got up today, we needed to cook it for 2 hours, so it's almost done. I know that we have been doing a lot of cultural activities. I know that cook glutinous pudding is one of your tradition. We have over 1,300 people in our village. So every household, we would cook about 50 of glutinous pudding. This weighs about 20 kilos. So around 1,000 kilos of glutinous rice will be ready for us to eat. So while we're waiting for the last bucket of glutinous rice, now we may present you one of the guests today. So Secretary Low. Hello, audiences. So can you introduce to us about the customs and traditions of our village? We have a lot of projects, including our intangible cultural heritage items. We have our dragon dance and other local intangible cultural heritage programs, such as cooking rice cakes and other programs that we provide as performances. So we can see a lot of cultural activities today. Are you local from here? No. I am from Xianju. So every day on the Little New Year, do we have a lot of traditions going on? In Xianju, yes. Every village organize stuff like this because people who are out there, like the people who are working out there and who are studying outside of our village, are all coming back. So people will be gathered at the cultural square. So how many people do you have today? Around 4 to 5,000 people. So every year, our village will hold a solemn activity like this. So this year, this position has been chosen to Wanzukou village, and everybody got up so early to celebrate a day like this. So we have this tradition every year, but today is extremely solemn. So this is a very popular activity in the general public as well. So let's go over there to take a look. We can hear in the local dialect that the glutinous pudding is ready. They have taken it out. Let's follow them and take a look inside the village. So 20 kilos can be carried by 2 people. We have over 1,000 kilos of pudding rice. We can see that all people here, including the junior and the senior, they're entering the village right now. Like before, when we were spending Little New Year, we would just have a reunion dinner for family. But now it's different because we have this cultural festival, because it presents a better understanding and requirements for our spiritual faces. So the passing down of culture is quite much importance too. So what we're seeing now is a solemn traditional activity that's organized in Wanzukou village. I can see the crowd is very big, and you're not exaggerating by saying there are 4,000 to 5,000 people. Now we're seeing Zhejiang Dragon Dance. This is a feature in Xianju County village. It means that the Chinese nation is the inheritors of dragons, and it bears good wishes to the new year. So we can see two words, two Chinese characters beside the cultural stadium. So this is one feature and custom of Xianju County village. So we can see the scale of today, that all people are gathered here. They're bringing the seniors and juniors here because everybody's looking forward to the activities in this little New Year day. We can see that the 1,000 kilos of glutinous rice has arrived on scene, and we can see on the main stage. There are 150 people around getting ready to cook glutinous pudding, because we have a lot of people who come back to the village after working or studying outside. And you can see the people in red vests. So we will experience cooking glutinous pudding together. We can see there's a big crowd today. I think it even beats the real New Year Day. And you can see the people crowding up in the cultural stadium, because the people of our village has expected this for a very long time. So as you said, you are from Xianju, so would you organize something like this? Yes, we also have a cultural stadium. So when you were a student or after you started to work, you expect this day of Lunar New Year with your friends and family as well. Yes, and we would taste the local cuisines. This has become one of our customs, and we can see the big crowd, and we can see people are standing all around here to watch the show. The glutinous pudding is right here. So I am from Hangzhou. So when we eat glutinous pudding, we would dip it into sugar. What's your purchase of eating this? Yes, we also have a lot of ways to eat it. We would eat it together with sugar or pickles and many other things, or we would wrap the puddings up to eat it like buns. So we have a lot of ingredients wrapped in the pudding because it bears a good wishes to the new year. So the dragon dance is about to conclude. So how many people are participating? Around 30 to 40 people. So every year when we organize activities like this, they would be invited here to present this dragon dance performance. If there's any big kind of celebrations, we would invite this dragon dance group because it bears a good meaning. Dragons, it means a good harvest and a good year for the 2019. And I can see on site a lot of villagers are taking their phones out to take photos. They're recording this very meaningful moment. Okay, let's take a look inside. Dear audiences, maybe you have just clicked in the link of our live streamings. Now we're bringing you live with a little New Year performance We are at Xianju in Zhejiang Province, and this is Xianju County village. So every eve of Little New Year, we would present a solemn activity like this. As we can see, there's a very crowded stage. We can see all the villagers are very happy and satisfied, and the volunteers are distributing the soil milk. We would make this from an early morning, so we got up very early to make this because we made it by ourselves. So, do you think this is delicious? Yes. Do you look forward to this day every year? Yes. Okay, thank you. I can see there are a lot of children. So people are taking this pickle. What's it for? They are wrapping up the pickles inside the glutinous puddings. So today, I believe the 50 food containers are made by the most experienced craftsmen. Yes, they have all come here. So aside from that, we can see there is a gala tonight. So some enthusiasts have come to here, and later we will have a dozen programs. So what kind of programs can you tell us? Especially a lantern dance. And we have singing competition and dances. This all presents the local culture of here. I hear that there are around 1,000 villagers. So aside from the villagers locally, a lot of other people from other villages have come here. Yes, they know about this event, so they have come here. We can see this crowd, which is giant, and I can feel the enthusiasm on site. Hi, can I ask you a question? Do you know what is this event? Who did you come with? Our class. So you came here with your classmates, right? Yes. Have you tasted soybean milk? Not yet. Will you be presenting us some performances? Not really. I wish you have a good time. So the Zhejiang Dragon dance has concluded. So the plagues have disappeared from our eyesight as well. As we can see, the cooked glutinous rice has arrived to the food containers. We'll find one nearby us, and we'll experience this. Let's walk this way. I see there's a really huge crowd on site. I believe that your audiences, you would have different kinds of costumes and traditions in your own hometown. So we will experience this later on from here. So we can see all this equipment. So we can see the pestle here. I used to see it was wood, but now this one is made of stone. Hi. So do you have special sayings for this equipment? This is called a food container, and this is a food pestle made of stone. We used to use wood, but now we have switched it to stone. So the glutinous rice is about to enter the food container, and they seem very good. So the glutinous pudding that they will turn into will be delicious as well, I believe. We can see that this young man over here must be very experienced. So have you been doing this for a very long time? Yes, since I was little. I started to learn it when I was little. So I'll just watch how you do it and I'll experience this. Do you want to taste it quicker? Yes. Have you been waiting for a very long time? Not really. So we haven't seen how this is made. So we wanted to come here and watch how the glutinous rice is made. So I think this custom has been passing down from generation to generation for around 100 years. So you don't commonly see this kind of scenario where so many people are cooking the glutinous rice, right? No. So, Secretary Low, is this a big scene for cooking glutinous rice? Yes. We don't have that very usual. Maybe we have a dozen of food containers in normal times, but now we have 50 of food containers. We know that this is something that we have to do together. So in this process, the glutinous rice need to be soaked. So on one hand, we need some power attached to the rice. So there are 3 people working in one team together, and one has to take the water inside the glutinous rice because it has to combine with the rice. This is a menial labor job. So the young man over there just did this for a couple minutes and then they switched. So the power used applying this pestle should be very subtle. So when we are putting water into the rice, we have to be very careful as well. I think if I need to add water in it, I would get hit in my hands. Excuse me, can I try this? Yes, of course. Please hold the microphone for me. Okay, dear audience, here I will try this. This is very heavy, the pestle. I'll try this again. Okay, I'll give this back to you. I feel like this has been exhausted my powers, and I've tried so hard. I feel that the power is within my hand, but when I knocked down, I don't think I hit the rice very hard. So this is a very difficult task indeed. So let me interview this man. Is there a special saying in this? So when we smash the rice, we need to grind it from the outer circles. So this, my assistant right over here will help me to change the position of the rice because the glutinous pudding cannot be even, so one assistant has to be standing aside to muscle this around. So without this assistant, we will have uneven glutinous rice. Because as long as we put the glutinous rice for some time, it will be harder than usual and will taste not as delicious as before. Right now we have a chopping board as well. We have cornmeal, which will be rolled around by this rolling pin. So it will become solid bodies, these glutinous puddings. We would cut them in squares and put them in refrigerators. We defroze it and we would cook it, or just simply hit it. So I can see a lot of villagers are already eating this. Can they eat this directly? Yes. So for me, I especially want to eat this together with the local pickles. So this is the initial stage of a ready glutinous pudding, but if we want it to be fully ripe, we probably need another 10 minutes. So we have prepared a lot of rice and we have stored a lot of rice. So as long as you come here today, I will guarantee that you're fed. I can see that people here are very desperate and they're already eating this glutinous pudding. So were you like this when you were little? Was the atmosphere just like this? Yeah, something like this. So basically every household would have a food container like this. And so when the Chinese New Year comes every year, we would gather together our family members and then conduct this kind of events and activities. So I feel the atmosphere is very nice because as youngsters just like us, we would only come home when the New Year comes. So we would want to gather and maybe drink some wine. So I feel that every year we have fewer and fewer tastes for the New Year, but having this event has made the New Year feelings and atmospheres come back. So I can see a lot of children are here. So may I interview one? So hi, do you think this is delicious? Yes. So when did you come here? 9:30 in the morning. So you've come here from the city? Yes. How do you feel about this event? I have an amazing experience here. So did this tradition exist when you were little? Yes. This is my baby's first time here, and I wish you a good time here, of course. Okay, let's take another look. So I felt hitting the glutinous rice, and now I'm going to try another, which is rubbing the glutinous rice, because I can see them doing this. Hi, may I rub this for you? Okay, please take this for me. Is this okay? I need to soak some water into it. I can feel that my hands are full of this. I need to directly use my hands. It's almost ready. So we cannot taste it right now because it still requires 10 minutes, but I'll try this first beforehand. So the taste of this is very soft. I believe that with the sesame and pickles, it will taste even better. So on site, apart from the 50 inheritors of glutinous pudding cookers, we have something even better for us. What's that over there? They're making steamed buns. So an event like this, I found there are a lot of popular items for food because we have some local snacks. We have 8 bowls of traditional food. We have something that I'll show you later. Now we'll take a look at the steamed buns. So what's the difference with these buns and the buns from the northern part of China? The material that we use is the same. This is only half done, so we need to be carefully using the knives when cooking this. We can see that he's making this already. Hi, excuse me? Can you talk us through the procedure of this, simply? Is this a ruler in your hand? Yeah. Why are you using a ruler? We are making different patterns by this ruler. This looks very good. So after this procedure, you will take it to the pot and then you will steam it. Yes. So how long have you been doing this? I've been doing this since I was very little. So I think you have a very experienced hand. And I can see a lot of people are eating this already. So, hi, you're wearing this costume. Have you just wrapped up your program? So where have you come from? I'm local from here. You're eating the glutinous pudding already. It's not even ready yet, right? I think this is very delicious taste. So after the whole process, they need some other makings, but now I'm eating this, and I think this stage of the rice pudding is very nice as well. I want to thank the government and I want to thank the party that they have presented us a very well-off life. I can see that a lot of people are making steamed buns and steamed twisted rolls. So the pattern is round. Will you show me one? So let's take a look at this locally featured steamed buns. There is a red dot just in the middle. So this is the featured snacks that the Secretary Low just talked about. So on one hand, they're making some very delicious food over here. On another hand, the gala is already on. There is a dance performance. Okay, let's take a walk over there. This is the completed glutinous pudding state. So after this, we will slice it into squares. So we have like the big crowd over here as well. Okay, let's take a look over there. Let's go even further into the crowd. I can imagine the pressure of the volunteers. I could smell this really good taste. What is this? Onions, carrots, tofu. So this filling is a local tradition. We made this by ourselves. This is called youyuan, another local snack. So will you only eat this during New Year times? Yes. Does it present any good meanings? Yes, a reunion of family. Are you locally here? Yes. I could feel it in your expressions because you hope this event go well. Yes, exactly. This is a very popular snack as well. This is called 泡响, one of the 8 balls that I have just mentioned. This is made by eggs and flowers. You can taste this. I'll just taste a little one. So I'll bring you to taste this. Okay, thank you. That's enough. This is not very salty or sweet. It tastes like a sponge cake. There are a lot of delicious food and snack over here. Yeah, during New Year, we have bringing out our best. So this is also a celebration for the harvest of a year. So actually what you're eating right now needs very fine cooking as well. So apart from this scene, apart from the gala, we also have... Okay, this is enough for me to eat, really. Like you just mentioned, aside from the events on site and aside from the snacks, we have also another place where we're celebrating right now. Okay, let's take a look over there. It's an ancient street. The history can date back thousands of years. So I'll show you your audiences. So this is also a process of making a food. We have an exhibition hall for non-skeleton lanterns. This is a very unique tradition in Botan. It is said that this dates back to the Tang Dynasty. There is a very big crowd, so we'll take our steps slowly. So this traditional kind of delicious food are just very popular within the public. We also have a sticky rice zongzi.
小朋友们也都在这儿了，今天这个中饭都省了，都在现场都可以吃完了。对，好，非常多的。
And there are a lot of children here. They don't need to cook anymore today because they have filled their stomach already.
你看这边拿在手里的，串在这个兜里的，还有这个大包小包的，都带着走了啊。
You can see that they are taking away the food and snack.
有我们当地特色的国家级非遗名录的我们的这个2个表演的项目啊。好，我们一起去看一看。
So here we will visit a ancient street where we have two programs of National Intangible Cultural Heritage List. So later we will visit this ancient street. So can you introduce to us briefly? It's about 1,000 years old. So in bird view, it looks like a dragon. So before this was a dock, an official dock. So from when? Tang Dynasty. So before, our place was a position where 5 rivers converged together. So this used to be a dock. So a lot of passes started right here with us. So this has been a myth. It is said that the dragon head was the position where the 5 rivers converged together. So back then, the poet Zhu Xi wrote a poem right over here, and there were 2 plaques that was preserved here. So we have a very profound cultural history in Bhutan. So I've been looking up the history before. One of our colleagues has been experienced this beforehand about the whole procedure, because we know that it is very difficult to make such a lantern. We may see that this is only a paper lantern, but the process of handcraft is very complex. So let me tell you a story. There used to be one scholar in Tang Dynasty, and there was a girl who was taking this lantern to show him the direction. So when the scholar comes back home, he makes one himself by paper without any skeletons. So by his memory, he make this again and he hang this in front of his door. So it is said that this girl has turned into a villager and married him. So this is a very good lovebird story. So every day the girl accompanied this scholar, and then this scholar made something of himself. So this is also one of the ways that we present the wishes where we want our children to go to a good school or a college. So this lantern has become the Tang lantern of Xianju. So on my way here, I have seen some lanterns, and now we have some metal stuff made in Xianju. We have changed the lantern into metal ones made by Aaron. Actually, this is made by machine. You can see in some highway exits. We would make this by needles and then glues, and then the non-skeleton lantern is done. So how many inheritors are there for this lantern? So from the town level to the national level, around 6 to 7 inheritors. I see that one of our colleagues is experiencing already. Have you tried this before? Yes, because the lanterns seem really nice and beautiful. It may seem very simple, but the technique is very complex and somewhat difficult. You need to be very careful in making this. So I think girls are more appropriate for making this, so we have arranged one of our female colleagues to work over there, and we'll see how she's doing over there. So as you told about the intangible cultural heritage list and the lovely love story, what have you heard since you were little? I've also known Tiao Ma since I was very little. We have also this 9-line balls, which will be hanged around a sedan. It seems that the lions are fighting for this one ball. They're actually puppets and landings combined together. This is also another program in our intangible cultural heritage list. So how about the Tiao Ma you mentioned? This is also one of the local tradition. It seems like one person riding on a horse, but actually it is standing inside within the horse, and it raises the horses. So this event that we're participating this year, do you organize this every year? Yes. So what have you been doing in this cultural work? So every year, because we have a cultural stadium in each village of ours, and today we have been organizing this event in Xianju village, and next year we'll plan to move it into other villages. So, as I mentioned about the non-skeleton lantern, we have initiated one of the class in schools because the procedure of making this is very difficult and complex. So maybe less and less people will have the technique of making this because we have around 6 to 7 inheritors in our county level. So we wish more people can be involved in this kind of activity. Now we're helping children to learn how to make this lantern. So how old is the inheritor? He's in his 80s. He's making the lantern and as well as teaching children how to make this lantern, how to pass down this traditional procedure. Do you have any children? My child is already in his 4th grade. So has he been learning about this? Yes. So I want to bring him here as well because I want him to learn the non-skeleton lanterns procedure. I can see that the traffic is jammed as well. So it requires a lot of manpower and security and volunteers. We have organized around 200 volunteers and traffic police. They have all come here to organize the order right here. So the commute is better right now because the traffic jam was even heavier before. We can see the efficiency is really high and the people are all swarming in the village to feel the local and traditional customs. A lot of people are parked over here and they walked to the site where we were just at. It requires a 10-minute walk. Well, personally, I want to walk myself, but because of the time limitation of our live streaming, we want to get there as soon as possible. So as you mentioned about the non-skeleton lantern and 9-line dolls, is there any other programs inside the National Intangible Cultural Heritage List? Not much. It's right about that. So we can see that a lot of performances are presented on the stage. So now we're changing the faces and appearances of the usual New Year's by these kind of performances because before we would usually play cards and just eat dinners in New Year times, but now we have better pursuits in our spiritual lives. You can see that the local villagers have higher standards and requirements for lives. Because of the construction of the platform, because we have a carrier for communication, the lives have been improved greatly because in the past, people would just gather together and play cards or have dinner or drink some wines together during New Year festival. But now, by food and culture, they're expressing their feelings. So not only for the New Year festivities, they're also organizing all kinds of activities to gather their hearts together. They have been passionate about their traditions as well as their hometowns. Now it's the winter vacation. We have a large number of students, especially young children. So in the past, a lot of people would just spend the Spring Festival outside in big cities, but now they're willing to come back because we can see the workers and college students, they have all come back, which indicates the success of our event. Okay, dear audiences, now we are at the entrance street. We've been hitting some traffic jam, but from the happy faces of the general public, we can see how the event is popular within the general public. Now what we're seeing is 跳跳马. So what is this horse made of? Just cloth? Yes. Now we are at the entrance street. We have another guest. Please say hello to our audience. Hello, Mr. In. So he will be our guide today and show us some national and intangible cultural heritage. Now this is Botan Entrance Street. It has a very profound historical context. So we have preserved the original taste and atmosphere. This is one of the national intangible cultural heritage. So what's the special saying about this? So from Ming Dynasty, folk artists have started this, and it has been inherited since then to now. So we have female artists controlling the puppets. So why are they all females and why are all the male in the front? So because of the coordination between artists, they have performed this really well. So from behind, they cannot see where the ball and where the dragon is, so they're judging by their experience solely. So in important festival times, the folk arts are presenting themselves. So here we have an exhibition hall for non-skeleton lanterns. This is also another feature of Xianju. So this is one of the tributes from Tang Dynasty. There are some exhibits in here. Let's take a look. This also belongs to the National Intangible Cultural Heritage List. So in our talk before, she revealed something to me. So after seeing the postures of the non-skeleton lanterns, so this was made by needles, especially for embroideries, and they will be stick together. So this is very delicate. There are a lot of parts. So I think this is very time-consuming. Making one lantern requires a lot of time, of course. So we'll take a closer look. So we have seen some very traditional crafts and art forms. So this kind of cultural inheritance so this is one of the birthplaces of human civilization. We have found this place for 10,000 years. This is also an ecology exemplary village in our country. This is the town of longevity. So in traditional festivals, the folk arts will be presented. So we'll present them. So you can introduce to me later. So let's take a look. This is the process of making the non-skeleton lantern. This is Mr. Wang, one of the inheritors of non-skeleton lanterns. So this is our colleague, Chen Si, because of the complex procedure of making one lantern. So I have put her here to do this. So how have you been doing? I have been doing this for a very long time. This is one of the most crucial parts, which is called needling. This is very delicate and complex, this procedure. The most crucial part is this one, which I'm doing right now, called needling. So all of the dots are made by your needle, right? So the diameter of this needle is 0.3 millimeters. So this scrap of paper is really small, I can see, but how many dots do you have to do in the needling? Thousands or hundreds. This is only one part of the paper stacked to the lantern. For example, this lantern has 40 scraps of paper like this attached to it. So this is a rather small one, and we have also larger lanterns. So how have you been learning this? I think this is very complex because there are 20 procedures. So we cannot look down upon this small lantern because it requires a lot of carefulness. I want to try this later on by myself. I just want to do this needling for a couple times because my hands are absolutely not as good as yours. So can you help us interview Inheritor 1? How long has she been doing this and how's her feeling inside this? Okay. So what procedure are you in? So now I am combining and assembling the parts together. This is the 11th procedure. So how many scraps of paper are there? 40. This one requires 40, but for other lanterns there are scraps of papers for 50 or 60 or even 80. So how long have you been doing this? 50 years? I've been doing this since I was very little. So let me tell you about my feelings. You can see, dear audiences, this twisted one is made by me. So I think for a man like me to do this, to complete this paper of needling is very, very hard. because it requires carefulness and patience. So let me handle this task back to you, Chen Si, and I'll continue to interview Inheritor Wang. So you have been doing this for over 40 years. When did you start? When I was a teenager. So in the earliest times, there were skeletons for these lanterns, but later I started the ones without the skeletons. So what's the difference? The difference lies only in skeleton. So the ones that I'm making right now is harder because it has no skeleton at all. It's all made by paper. So like the ones presenting before us, how long does it require to make them? A dozen of days. So I was looking up on the internet that there are 18 procedures, but as our colleague mentioned, there are 20 procedures in making one lantern. So can you introduce to us briefly? So you have to be very patient, and you can be able to sit down. So what's the first step? So the first step is making the plans. And then we have to make holes, and then we take them apart. We stick different kinds of papers to it. And then what's the next step? So after sticking the papers together, we have to stick the decorations to it as well. So of all the lanterns here, which one is your favorite? I love every one of them because it's all my work. Everyone has its own feature, and everyone is distinctive. So you have been doing this for decades, and you're still in the process of making one. So what's your feeling towards this? My feeling is that I have to inherit this for as long as I live. And I will teach all the students of mine. As you can see, dear audiences, if you are interested in making this, maybe you can pay a visit to Inheritor 1. So people from all around the world or all around the country can come visit me. So, is this your daughter-in-law? So what's your name? My name's Cheng Caiping. So how long have you been learning this? So after I married into my mother-in-law's home, I've been learning this for 26 years. So now you're teaching students as well. And I know that this program of this lantern is also entering the classrooms. Have you been participating in this? Yes. I have been teaching them because I am one of the inheritors. I have the obligation and responsibility to teach them. So I think you are a young generation of inheritors in Xianju for making these non-skeleton lanterns. So how do you view this? This dates back to Tang Dynasty, around 1,000 years back. So this is a very old and ancient memory. So I am using a variety of ways to involve the young people inside of learning, this lanterns making, and we will help it to develop. So this is the same with your mother-in-law's aspiration. So I'll interview one of the children right here. Hi, excuse me. So how long have you been learning this? From primary school. Now I am a middle school student. So what's your biggest feeling in learning this? Because I feel that for young people, this is really hard. Yes. Because I tried it myself and I can't do it right. So this is a deer and this is a monkey right over here. Okay, I'll leave you to your work. Okay, please learn it well, Chen Si. So when you learn it, and you can come back here and then teach us. So I can see that all this is developing. So how do you view this pattern about the development and what's our next plan? I think it is very important to inherit the cultural traditions. So this is one of the following feature and focus of our work in Xianju. So this is a exemplary village inside the country. This is also important unit in Zhejiang Province as well. So for the village and towns to be developed, the cultures has to be put much importance to. So we have been constructing the cultural stadium in villages for many years, and we want to develop it. So now we have 165 cultural stadium. So in the next 3 years, we will be covering all the administrative villages. And this will initiate our work in enhancing all the cultures of our traditional features. So the cultural auditorium will be open all the time, and the content will be updating continuously. And this will be a place where the carrier of the local traditions can be channeled through. So the technique of the local arts can be inherited and developed. And this will be a pillar of the village reinvigoration. This will be one of the focus in our work. So we have 3 national cultural intangible heritages, and we have seen 2 of them, which is 9 lines ball and non-skeleton lantern, and we also have another which is very exciting. And now we're seeing a jumping horse. This is a provincial cultural heritage. This also bears a good meaning for the new year. This is very peaceful and joyful. So in the past, we would invite some specialists and artists from the cultural exhibition hall, and now we have more and more general public participating in this kind of programs. Yes, our villagers are more and more positive in taking part inside of these kinds of activities. They are inheriting the cultural heritage by themselves, and they're directing and playing by themselves. The whole process is done by the public. So we'll take a look over there. So let's take a look at the site. The traffic was jammed when we came here, but we can see that the general public are very positive and joyful to participate because I can see it in their faces with their smiles. We have been organizing New Year galas every year, and we have seen one before. So by directing and playing themselves, they're bringing the happiness inside their hearts outside. I think this kind of activities can really enrich the spiritual and cultural lives in the rural area. So this event will take place for the whole day. In the afternoon, we'll have other kinds of activities going on. So the cultural life of villages can be enriched even further by this. They are organizing a variety of activities right over here. So whether if retired in their normal daily life, they are very willing to participate this. This also means a lot to us. Okay, thank you for your deliberate introduction today. So today we are bringing you live from Xianju, Zhejiang to help you feel the Little New Year's atmosphere